Hello? Hello? Okay. Alright, so I know I just went live like a minute ago, but I wanted to make this quick video since I will be busy the next few days, but yeah, so if you don't know, this past weekend, actually hold up, let me edit this. Alright, so if you don't know, this past weekend, Mufasa the Lion King came out in theaters this weekend, and I think while there's been a lot of mixed reviews on the film, I personally was a fan of it. I just did a whole review on Friday about it. I have some things about it though. And I think one of the things that this movie could do is one of the things that they said a few years back, like a year ago, is that they could be like finding a way to expand the Lion King universe. Now, I don't know if they meant by animation or by live action, and it currently seems like it's going to be like live action. And so I think it's time since I'm a massive Lion King fan, here are my top 5 CGI Disney stories I would like them to see. So this isn't just going to be Lion King. This will also include other stories like maybe Jungle Book or something like that, or some other like big CGI world that I think they could do that would be interesting to watch. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. And I think the first one that I would really be interested in seeing is a story is actually the remake of The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride. I think that it might be better to do now since there's actually a lot of stuff you can improve on that, and that you can actually go further with the Romeo and Juliet storyline to where instead of it being these followers of Scar, it will actually be these past enemies that faced Mufasa, and instead of Kiros being their leader, it would be these people that supported Kiros, and it might be even be led by Kiros' sisters, those two twins. I think we're cool, and I think maybe you can do if you want to still do the Kiara and Kovu storyline. It probably won't even be weird anymore because Kiros and Mufasa and Simba, they're not related. So it could probably work, and maybe because in Mufasa they said that the outsiders, these white lions, they hated everything because they were hated by everyone, and so the whole "We Are One" storyline that Simba teaches Kiara, this could actually mean something in the plot that could actually mean something, and those lions could actually be welcomed into their pride because they were misunderstood. And I think that could be really interesting if they actually decided to go further with that. And I'd totally be down for that movie. I totally be down. And especially, I'm more convinced for them to do it because from the little bits of stuff we got with Simba and Nala in Mufasa, obviously it wasn't a lot, but I liked the way that they kind of portrayed their characters. Their facial expressions were a lot better in the film. And the way Simba kind of talked to Nala and Kiara was kind of romantic, but also kind of sweet. And something that I never thought Donald Glover was able to portray. So I was kind of impressed. And I also want to see more of Blue Ivy Carter as Kiara. So that's one idea that I have. The next idea that I have is essentially a live action Lion Guard film. One of the things that by the end of so one of the big plot lines in the movie that basically gets this Mufasa story to happen is the movie opens with Simba basically announcing to the Pride Lands that me and Nala and I are having another cub. The circle of life is expanding in our family, and basically we see the little cub at the end of the film, and essentially, and I looked on Wikipedia, it is confirmed that that cub is Kion, which, if you don't know, he is Simba and Nala's second son, and he is the leader of the Lion Guard. So we might be getting, so if this is a setup to do something in the future, I would truly love to see a live action Lion Guard story in live action with these wonderful characters, to see the roar of the elders roar with Kion, and you get these big sweeping dusts of wind blowing all the hyenas and enemies away. Man, that would be something. Now, while this sounds like a cool idea, I don't know if they could do it, just because the Lion Guard is such a rich history. How will this be the first Lion Guard, like Mufasa was the first king of Malele? Like, how are you going to do that? And will you bring back the same characters, or will you just do a whole new team? Will you bring back Bunga and Fuli and Ono and Beshti? Or will you make them a whole bunch of new characters? Please don't, because that's ruining my Lion Guard. That would ruin my Lion Guard childhood. And would I want this to be a series or a live action movie? Kind of depends. I mean, I never really thought of a CGI of a show in the style of this CGI. It would be incredible to get that every week, like a Lion King show in this universe. Oh man, that would be cool. If they got the writing done right, though. And then this third one. All right, so the third one, so it's kind of half, because one is just something that I really want, and then the other is something that it's a backup. So the first one, and it's kind of a tie-in for two, that I don't even know if anyone can make this happen. But if there is somehow some way we can go back to going to in the animated world of the Lion King with the great kings of the past, I would love to see a story about the origin of the Pride Lands with King Mohatu, and seeing the actual animated version of Mufasa's story. Now, with the Mohatu storyline, I consider him to be the first king of the Pride Lands, in that there's this book that came out when the original Lion King came out called The Brightest Star, which basically established that Mohatu was this lion who helped the animals, basically brought in what the Lion King is supposed to be, in that all the animals respect the circle of life, they all respect each other, and he became the Lion King. But also he helped when there was a great drought that was happening, and made him such a respected king that he helped all these animals. And it's something very powerful that I think, like, I don't know if you, like, I was thinking, like, if you wanted to do, I feel like if you wanted to do a 30-year anniversary for Lion King, this probably could have been that film, and you could have, like, done something experimental with it, where a lot of ways this plot of this story sounds very similar to The Wild Robot, to where you have this robot who everybody hates her and is afraid of her and shames her. But throughout the story, everybody learns to love her and respect her. And that's kind of what Mohatu does. Except no one hates on him, but they don't really like lions because they try to just hog all the water source for themselves. And if you were able to do the Brightest Star storyline and make it into that, like, Wild Robots, like, animation style, I would actually totally be down for that, because that's something I actually kind of want to see. So Um, yeah, and then have that great moment of all the animals looking up at at the night sky, and especially since you would get a moment like that in The Princess and the Frog earlier, like 15 years ago, it would match for Disney animation and having a beautiful animation style that would work beautifully. Now with the animated version of Mufasa's story, well, everybody does certain cuts of movies. We had a PK-13 version of Deadpool 2. We had this unrated cut of Rocky 4. Why not do an animated version of Mufasa's story, except taking place in the actual Lion King universe? And if you want to do the Wild Robot animation style, go ahead, do that. Though I would actually say I would make the Mufasa story a whole lot different. Because the Mohato storyline would be the origin of the Pride Lands, the origin of great kings of the past. And maybe we could still do the thing that there are a Valley of Kings out there, and that there were all these respected lion kings throughout all these savannas, but then there was one lion that chose to rule over this one big land, and he was called king. And that was Mohato. And so with a Hadi, I think with the updated Mufasa story, there's something that you could develop. You can have it would probably feel a little stale because we're just in the Pride Lands, except we're with Mufasa and Taka, though it's a much different story. We are not going out in the jungle and Timon and Mufasa meets a meerkat and warthog, except it's Mufasa. He has a brother, and his father gets assassinated from these other lions, and it's up to him to try to be a great king and learn wisdom through his mother and his father. And I think it would still be an awesome story to do in the Lion King universe, but we just get to spend so much time in the Pride Lands. I think it would be really good. Whereas the Mohato storyline would be a traveling film from all these different locations, and that's where you can do the big scale scope and going to all these different locations. And with Mufasa, you just get to spend so much time in the Pride Lands, and you actually get to spend time in this environment. And while you don't get flash floods or fire, you get to spend, you kind of get an actual nature film with these characters, and I think it would be incredible. And if we never will get these films, I would actually like to see it a live action Timon and Pumbaa 1.5. Now, keep in mind, I don't know how you would do this. I mean, granted, Timon and Pumbaa were acting very cartoony in Mufasa, so maybe it could work. Some of their humor, I think back to it now, it didn't really make me laugh fully. I kind of just love the stuff that we saw from the trailers. But to be completely honest, I think it could probably work. And maybe even doing something interesting more with how they raised Simba. And especially since during that time, we got to see of how their characters were. Seeing live action snail slurping contest like that would be so much fun to watch. But also kind of including all these other little animal characters in here, I think would actually be very fun to watch. But yeah, that's my idea of the other idea I had. Whoops, hold up. And the fourth idea that I have is, so we're kind of exiting out of the Lion King universe for a little while, and we're going to go head on to the Jungle Book. Now, if some people kind of forget that this whole CGI photorealistic thing basically started with Jon Favreau's Jungle Book back in 2016. And the reason for that is because that was a masterpiece. Because not one of the best things that the Jungle Book remake did is it took all the things you loved about the original, but boosted it up with a world that is with a jungle that is extreme, dangerous, and fun. But it did it in such an interesting way to where it made such a gigantic lore to where the jungle has certain laws. You drink before you eat. Shere Khan is a fierce warrior. The elephants are like the saviors of the jungle. King Louie is like this ravaging beast from like the depths of extinct animals. And so just the jungle in the Jungle Book of 2016 was just so interesting. It feels so lived in that I want to explore these characters before or explore them after. I did hear we are getting a Jungle Book 2 from Jon Favreau, though he's working on the Mandalorian film right now. I want to see more stories in that version of the Jungle Book. I want to go back to the world that worked. And if obviously I know Jon Favreau didn't necessarily, do much with the Lion King remake, he did something incredible with the Jungle Book. So I think you already did something interesting with the Jungle Book and expanded it and found a way to do something that was original, but a remake. And you can expand on that more. I think that would be awesome. As to what they would explore, I actually have no clue. I have no idea. Shere Khan is dead. If you want to do another prequel and see these characters like how they were before, I'd be totally down for that. It works with Mufasa, where you just have an original story with all CGI characters, and maybe even including some humans in here. I don't know, but yeah. I guess that's. Oh, we have one more. And the final one is, this one is a little bit stupid, but it actually has to deal with extinct animals. Kind of exploring, the African animals that were extinct, that are extinct. I'm gonna be honest. I think Ice Age, is a pretty fun film, and I think, a lot of the animals that are in there relate to African animals. Mammoths, elephants, saber-toothed tigers, Bengal tigers. I'm pretty sure there was a lion out there. There was a lion species out there that originated for lions to come across. So, I think this kind of story, and we could actually that could be of how the origin of kings were, that it just goes back to legends and decades. Not really sure how it would do, but I'd be totally down for it. I want to see that. And that is pretty much it. Hold up, let me put closing sign. And that is it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. And let me know, what are your thoughts? What stories would you like to see from the Lion King universe or other CGI films? What are other, what do you think they should expand the world of Bambi? Make it a lot more interesting, since, they could do something maybe original with it and make it a lot interesting like the Jungle Book did, since it's all CGI animals, and make it sweet, but make it so engaging to where, it would actually make a whole lot more sense. So, that is kind of my opinion on everything. But, yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.